Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new Tesla update video. So today let's go over the market. Let's talk about Tesla, what we can expect moving into the rest of the week, especially with earnings tomorrow. Going to be extremely wild. Options right now are expensive because it's, typical IV pump essentially pre-earnings, and then usually after earnings the IV usually crashes pretty hard, especially if it goes nowhere. Anyway, all that being said and done, Tesla, the market's closing in 9 minutes, by the way, but Tesla so far up about 0.5%. It was pretty much all over the place. It actually started all the way up at almost 230, which was about 4.5% or something like that. Then it pretty much gave up all of its gains, and then it actually went into the red a few times too. I think it was down maybe like 1% or so at its worst or the lowest, something like that, which isn't great compared to yesterday, right? So not the best thing in the entire world, but however, it's actually not all that bad either. And let me explain why. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we have broken out officially out of this downward channel. That is a fantastic sign. So we have officially broken out of the channel. Great sign so far. We are currently holding above the red line, you can see, and the channel. So essentially what happened today was an absolute textbook retest of the breakout, right? Because again, like I said, we have this channel breakout, which also coincided with the red line, which tends to be overall good support in the past. I think it was from back here as well, right? And you can see even when we were around this area, we kind of danced around it a few times as well. However, the good thing is the fact that not only do we come back to retest the breakout of the yellow channel, which we so far, again, it can change. I want to make it very clear, not financial advice, all that good stuff, make your own decisions. None of this is financial advice. Anyway, technically it can still fall apart. However, as of this moment, as I am recording, as I am speaking about it, etc., it's looking pretty good. And the reason is because we came back, retested the breakout of the channel, which is very classic, very textbook thing to do. So far, we bounced off of it successfully. You can see the buying pressure comes in right as we come very close to this general area of this channel, which is around that 217 level. And on top of that, it's also a double bounce off of the red line so far as well. So far, it's looking pretty good. I personally think this today right here is a little bit of a fake out, for people that aren't really maybe paying attention as much or something like that. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I'm not shaken out at all. In fact, I actually entered a bit of bullish positions. So when we came down to these levels right here, around between 219 to 217, I sold some another one put on my main account, and then my second account, I did buy shares. About 100 shares, pretty much playing this potential pump that I think will happen post earnings. That I'm like 65, maybe 70% confident in right now, right? That I think we will overall get a rally, and the market itself will also get a bit of a rally as well. So the way you want to look at it is this, right? So this seems to have been the swing low, right? So the idea that you want to be looking at in terms of figuring out, okay, so if this, breakout of the downward channel that we've been in for, a while now holds, if we, so far it is, and if we continue rallying off of that, and if this plays out like in a textbook fashion, let's just say that, like the proper way, if that makes sense, right? Which it very well cannot, especially in a market like this. But if it does, where does that take us? How high can we bounce off of this area? Well, let's take a look. Using the Fibonacci, you can see, put it down from the swing high to the swing low. You can see that the major level, I'm personally, I guess my price target that I'm really looking at, which it can either be the one below it or above it, but the average price target I'm personally looking for is around this 246-ish level, which coincides pretty well with the overall general retest of this yellow line. Let me go ahead and remove this. Of this yellow line right here that has acted before as a support. As you can see, we came down here, got bounced off of it a few times, finally broke under it, then it acted as a resistance. This is a perfect way to determine it, right? Beautiful resistance, massive red candle that finally broke below it, and then beautiful support, massive red candle, beautiful resistance. It really doesn't get better than that, right? And that's essentially what I'm looking at. And I'm looking at us coming back up to one more time, retest this line potentially, and that would also coincide with that 0.5 Fibonacci. So that's essentially what I'm personally looking at the very moment, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, there's really not much more to talk about, I guess, in my honest opinion, right? The volume is pretty okay, nothing crazy. The RSI on the daily actually looks a little bit bullish now, I would say. It flipped above the median or the average. It's looking like, it's poking its head out, even though we completely rallied down pretty much the same level as yesterday. It's just going sideways, which is, pretty good. You can see it is peaking its head higher than these levels back here slightly, which, overall Tesla was trading a little bit higher in those levels. So, it's looking pretty okay for the short term. It's looking okay, it's not looking too bad whatsoever. And essentially, if I had to completely look out into the future for the next maybe month, maybe even 2 months, but I would say about a month, This is what I personally predict, right? This is what I personally predict right now. This, again, just a prediction, just a guess, but just this is what I wouldn't be surprised to see if we come up to this level, retest it, and then ultimately make our way even lower to probably the bottom of this red line or something like that. Maybe even lower to 150 potentially. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Maybe, you know, come down even as far as this potentially, right? That's definitely not out of the equation. But the point is the fact that what I want to see is as we rally up here in the RSI, most likely will actually rally pretty hard. Like if we come up to this level of around, you know, 245, maybe 250 even, I expect the RSI to go probably, you know, honestly, probably close to like even 50, right? Maybe like the 40s or something like that. But the point is that I'm trying to make is once we do that and then Tesla most likely comes down even lower, which I still think might happen, right? I don't think that's impossible. We'll see. Again, you know, it doesn't have to happen. It's just a guess, right? It's just my prediction. It could be wrong. But if this were to play out and then we make an ultimate bottom, maybe at 180, maybe at 150, but somewhere around, but essentially make a new bottom in general, right? What I would want to see then for the RSI is, you know, if you maybe zoom in on the RSI, is what I want to see is something like this, right? So we come up for that level I just talked about, you know, this is like the 150, let's say roughly. And then we come down to, like, let's say, you know, 180 or something like that. I'd want to see the RSI go somewhere around here. Once we come up to, you know, once we go down rather to 180, maybe even as low as 150, maybe that 150 will come down somewhere around here. But the point is that when we go like lower than the current low that we had, which was like 204 or something like that, what I'd want to see is the RSI to make a higher low on the daily. If we can see that off of making an ultimate lower low, which again, I still think is very, very possible, that would be quite bullish in my opinion, right? Just my opinion though, of course, right? It could be completely wrong. Take it as you will. You know, again, not financial advice, but that is personally what I'm overall ultimately projecting, and that is what I would not be surprised to really truly form a bottom and really truly get an actual bounce coming out, right? So again, the first target on this potential move to the upside, guys, is going to be this level up here, right? Somewhere around this 140 or 145, 245, maybe even 250, anywhere between 245 to 250, somewhere in that general range will be my major target, assuming this breakout of the downward channel holds. And the way it would fall apart is if Tesla essentially within the next coming days pretty much goes back under I would even say like 216 is already starting to get a little bit, you know, kind of scary if we, you know, start not even bouncing off of it, you know, at least somewhat quickly. That's getting a little bit spooky. But essentially, in my opinion, if we fall too far below, like honestly, as low as even like 210, right? If you come back to like 210 even, you know, that's where it's really getting like, okay, this is getting kind of suspicious now. This is no longer looking anywhere near as good, right? So that's essentially what I'm personally looking for. You can also argue that there is a potential, you know, very slight inverted head and shoulders potentially setting, oh, what is going on here? Inverted head and shoulders potentially setting up here, something like that, right? You know, it's a little bit of a clumsy one. I wouldn't say it's the best looking inverted head and shoulders, but it's not impossible, right? This potentially has, you know, the inverted head and shoulders pattern coming up here as well. So, you know, take that as you will, of course, as well. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, I still believe we are in an ultimate downtrend. I just believe we'll get a bit of a relief. I think earnings should go overall, you know, fairly well. And I think we'll get a bit of a rally from there, probably come up to that level. Most likely we go sideways for a bit into an ultimate rejection, and then either come to test these lows down here or ultimately make a lower lows. But again, that's just a projection. That's just a guess. I could be completely wrong. But I do think if this were to happen, I think it'll actually happen quite quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens somewhere at the end of the month or early next month, somewhere around the midterm elections. But that is my current prediction. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. The market is about to close in just about 40 seconds. So Tesla most likely will be closing out just ever so slightly in the green, but nonetheless, still showing that, you know, very slight buying pressure coming in at the very critical level, which so far it is holding. So as long as we continue holding this general level, it's looking pretty good in my honest opinion. And I will cut if we essentially break today's lows tomorrow. I'll probably cut. I'll probably exit my position that I entered today. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.